Okay, we're live today. Hello and welcome to another session. We're on day 5. Just bear with me. Okay. Thanks for joining. So we're on day 5. We've got the 25k Apex Trader Funding Challenge. Total target, I need to hit 26,500 as the end target. $122 of the target is complete, so we've got a little bit more to go, and we're looking to trade today's session. On the futures, the pricing, and the CFDs actually, the pricing is very close to the 24,000 big round number. As we can see on the CFD chart a little earlier, and the 5-minute depth market had a couple of rejections off that 24,000 mark, so it'll be interesting to see if that level holds or if we'll continue lower. Before I dive into the analysis of today, I'll just do a bit of a recap of what happened yesterday. Just turn that off. Okay, so the market opened, we pushed higher, which is to be expected at the open. We surpassed the confluence levels, the breakout long and the R1, got up to the previous day's high, which was outside the Bollinger Bands all the way up to the M30. That presented us with an opportunity to look for short positions in target of the close gap. I had a couple of trades. I think I got in one, jumped out quite quickly at the surpassment of this level, and then I got back in around the previous day's high, I believe. So had a couple of trades there, and I think we were up about $50 odd or $80. However, what we can see by the analysis and from previous days as well is that the longer term, I guess the full day view of the analysis that I've been providing has panned out. So we've targeted the gap on several occasions as I guess a mental note, and the market has gone to that target every time. So one thing I'm taking away from these sessions, and I guess when I go through the live commentary, I'm talking out what I'm thinking, but then also we see what I actually do when it comes to execution. So I'm thinking the market will hit the close gap. I look for a push up or a push down, and then I guess the market inverts back over towards that close gap, and that's happened several times over now. So from here to here, obviously with concern about the pivot, we did see a bit of rejection there, but not too much. But that's about 140 points down to that close gap. I'll go back to the day before that. I'll see what we were thinking there. This one we opened near the close gap and we did fill it, but what happened was we've got the triple banding, which I mentioned in the pre-market as well. That connected, we had some really strong indication of likely buying in the future from the order flow in Tradovate, and that was able to allow me to get in long, and then I got out at this Bollinger Band. However, it did make it back up to the close gap. That close gap had filled already, so it wasn't as strong of a target, but that was a really good buy after a bit of a loss on that day. So had a bit of a recovery from the earlier loss. the day before that, let's take a look. So the market opened in between or just above the S2, had some serious dropping right down to the S3. Again, good indications on the order flow, I believe, to take us long. I did get in, but I got out fairly quickly. I think I got out the first rejection for a few points, made a little bit of money, which was good. But had I have held on, we would have made it all the way up to that close gap, which I'd mentioned. So the low and the close gap was a target. So even just to the low, that's 160 points for those who, I guess, have the patience to hang in there. Now, this one was the Monday, so the very first day. We opened around the breakout short in the S1, dipped down to that low, had some good indication on the order flow to buy, and the market went to the close gap again for about 130 odd points. So we've basically hit the close gap every single day, so there's no unfilled gaps from this week. Just going to take a look. We've got 9 minutes till the market opens, so I'll just go through some analysis now on what I'm looking for today. Just bear with me one moment. So we've got the S1 on the pivot points. That's where price is right now. It looks like we're kind of rejecting off that level right now, 9 minutes before the pre-market. As I mentioned, I don't like to get into trades before the market opens. I like to see that initial volatility, see where it takes us, and look for, I guess, impulsive moves in the wrong direction to then generally take it back in the other direction towards our target. Hi, David. Yes, I do generally only trade the DAX. I do look at the FTSE. In this live trading session, though, I'll be sticking to the FDAX Minis. I do trade some, I guess, foreign exchange algorithms, but mainly focus on the DAX and the FTSE, or the UK 100. So yeah, big round number, 24,000. Kind of dropped away from that in the pre-market. We'll see what happens with that big round number, but it's something to consider. I'll just zoom out a little. We've got the breakout short, S1 and low, all in this kind of close area. It indicates that if we pull further away, the close gap could be a good target. Yeah, sure. So the DAX is really good from a volatility perspective. So it moves fast, particularly around the open. It's highly liquid, meaning that you can get in and out quite easily, or you're going to suffer a lot less slippage. So in some of the smaller markets, they might move a lot, but you might cop a lot of slippage, or the spreads are really big, meaning the costs are massive. Also the predictability as well. I like the way that it does respond to certain levels. The order flow often indicates some really strong directional cases, allowing me to get in at better pricing. The volatility also, so obviously the motion, if I'm looking for a 40-point stop, I can still use that stop loss and perhaps go for, say, 100 to 150 points. So the risk reward can often be quite good on that sense. And also the time of day. So when the market opens, that time of day is really valuable to me, because it's an easy time for me to be able to trade and focus and watch the market at that time that it opens. The reason I focus the open time is because that extra volatility, often new orders from institutional players will push the market a certain direction. often into a level, we'll be able to see it on the order flow that there's a big order going the other direction, and we'll be able to take that order a lot easier than sort of flying blind or not having that order flow. So overall, I am looking to, I guess, target this close gap. One thing to note though, we are on the, just double check. Yeah, so 31st is on a Sunday, which means this is the last trading day of the month. So there may be hedge funds and institutional players looking to close out their profits for the month, which may mean that the DAX will likely drop off. This doesn't always pan out. So just something to be aware of. The market may pull away because bigger players are pulling their profits out of the market. This is particularly true when the market has gone up, but this month hasn't been as bullish as historically shown. So I'm going to just quickly jump onto the monthly chart. From this level, there might be some people that got in on lower on this wick, but there's a lot of people sort of, it's very in the middle of nowhere. It's not a big, strong, bullish candle. So there's probably less people taking profits and thus selling the market. Have a look at the weekly, kind of in the middle of nowhere. We've got the low from 2 weeks ago, about this level as well, which is very close to that 24,000 big round number. We've got the daily. Nothing really there. Got the 4 hour. We are on the lower side of the 4 hour for the Bollinger Band. If we get a sharp movement in the next 3 minutes into this breakout short, that means we would breach the lower Bollinger Band, which can indicate that we're outside of the normal standard deviation, and that will indicate to me that, hopefully the market will turn around. Same with the 1 hour, we're already outside of that lower Bollinger Band. Same with the 30-minute, nice rejection off the S1 at the moment, but as I mentioned, I like to wait for the market open before I get in. Yeah, so the pivot points are plotted on the MT5, and that's just a CFD chart. And then on Tradovate, I've got the a 1 hour order flow, a 5 minute order flow, and then the depth of market. So I guess because I've got the code and the data points on the CFD charts, I haven't necessarily put them on Tradovate. I do like to have both. I just find it easier personally. But if you did have the pivot points laid out properly on a chart for Tradovate, obviously you could just have it all on the one. So we've had a really strong push down, and then there's a lot of order flow coming around this point, telling me that obviously this is a place where the market's happy to trade, but there's a good chance that perhaps we'll turn around and target that close gap. We've got 1 minute till the open, about 30 seconds I should say, till the market open. I will be looking to buy. However, the ideal situation would be, as I mentioned, if there's an impulsive move the other direction to where we want to get in, to give us a better entry. 15 seconds, there's a bit of activity coming in, there's a bit of volatility. Orders sort of jumping around. And we're open. I'm just going to try and zoom in. Going to just buy the market here. There's a bit of a push lower. We may see a bit more of a push lower, but we'll see what happens. So I'm in long. I think we're going to jump around a bit more though. So I might just try and get out for a little profit. So made about 35 USD there. I think the market's going to sort of float around, so I don't want to sit here and wait for the market to figure out what direction it's going to go. Had the market have kept pushing higher, I might have been more confident to stay in that position. Disclaimer guys as well, I'm not necessarily a professional trader, so this is just my experience trading the Apex Trader Funding Challenge. Just sharing what I see and I guess my experience trading this market. See a lot of buying in the order flow on this side, so it is starting to come through. If we have a little pullback here, I might try and get in. Okay, so I'm in the market now. Once again, we'll just see what happens here. We might have a bit of a pullback again. Just close it out for a bit of a profit, I think, if I can. There's a big 20 there in the order flow. It's kind of, see how it's kind of random with its position. So that could be a big limit order, or it could be a really big aggressive buy. But because there's very little order flow either side of that, it kind of confuses me as to what they're thinking there. Good morning, Trek Lord. Thanks for joining the session once again. So because of this big order flow on the ask side, the market has sort of slowed its power higher, and I'm glad I got out of that position, because the market's kind of figuring out where it's going from here. Perhaps some aggressive selling down at this point here. But as you can see on the CFD charts, without knowing this order flow limit, what's going on actually on the ask orders, you wouldn't know why it's stalling. It looks like the bulls are coming in and just bypassing that. So hopefully we'll come up and see this close gap, but I am out of my positions now. $90 so far for the day. Ideally, we'd see a big pullback so I can get back in, but that may not happen. The trouble with the Apex Trader Funding accounts, though, is because of the trailing drawdown, you've got to kind of get in and out. You can't let winners run because it squeezes you out of the trailing drawdown numbers. So I like to try and take small little clips as we go. So that mid Bollinger Band line that we've just touched as well is getting a bit of volume. That's the big round number as well, 24,000. So the market's figuring out what direction it wants to go. For some reason my chart's gone way back, so I'm just going to hit this button. Yeah, it's been quite bearish the last, I guess, all week really. Just go back to a 5 minute. So we can see on the 4 hour, we pushed right at the open, we pushed just outside of that 4 hour Bollinger Band lower, came close to the breakout short, and I guess painting an overall picture, having that close gap target as well, kind of made out for a good buy. So that was the reason for getting in at the open there. It's stalling a little bit around this level. I'm sure getting this close to the close gap, I'm sure it will get touched at some point. But on the downside, if the market does pull all the way back, it's too much risk to take on this account. So just watching how it plays out. It's just a lot of orders around this 24,000 mark. Happens to coincide with the mid band on the 5 minute chart as well. So far up 90 USD for today, so that's quite good. And we've had a couple of positions, so just do a bit of a recap. I got in here, got out very quickly, got nervous, missed all of this movement. I got back in and then got out soon after that as well. So $90, that's close to probably about 7% to target, which I'm happy with. I'm not convinced that fading the close gap is a great idea today, because we may just continue upwards. As I mentioned yesterday, the DAX just keeps powering up. Yeah, the DAX is a good market to trade for a number of reasons. Especially like when you specialize in a market, you really get a feel for how it moves. And you start to understand some nuances that you can't really teach, or people generally won't mention. You just start to get a gut feel for what's going on as well. Coming up to this close gap now, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on the order flow, just to see if we do get a big limit order that will perhaps send the market lower once we touch that close gap. Again, I'm not in a position just at the moment. That's probably gap filled there. We'll just see what happens on the order flow if there's any increased activity. David, did you want a free Apex account? I'll give you the code. Just let me know if you're interested. Thanks for coming along and commenting. I've got, I think, about 7 left to give away. So just let me know in the comments if you're interested in a free Apex account. You do get to choose any size account, free for the first month, and you can choose any platform you like. So I think Apex, they've got Tradovate, they've got Rhythmic, and Wealth Charts, I think, is the new one they've got. So if you're still there, David, just let me know in the comments, and you'll get the account. Yeah, cool. I'll put in the email. Just send me an email to let me know, and I'll pass through the code for you to go and get that one. So it's that email there. Obviously, just replace the @ in brackets with the @ symbol, and I'll send you a code after the session. You'll be able to jump in. It's free for a month. So if you don't pass within the month, I think they will try and charge you, but you've got a month to try and pass and hit that target, so it's pretty cool. Looks like quite a bit of selling. Perhaps this is a limit order with some selling on this side. I'm hoping to then fade this gap lower, and that would then coincide with the Friday sell-off at the end of the month as well. So not only is it the end of the week, but it's also the end of the month, and that's a big order there. Just zoom in. That's 22 units. It might push up a little bit higher, take out some more stops just above this close gap perhaps, but I'll be looking to perhaps short this market if I see some indication that we're going short. It's going to happen quite quickly if I see it. But remember also, this red side could be aggressive buying, but by the look of it, it's more likely to be a sell limit. So either buyers getting out or sellers with a limit order to get in. I'm going to get in. I'm going to have a go at this one. If it does push higher quite aggressively, I'll just jump out. But I feel somewhat protected by this level here. We'll just see what happens. One thing about the DAX is it does have a tendency to just continue higher regardless of what's going on in the economy and other indexes. So I always get a bit nervous when it comes to going short on the DAX. I much prefer going long. And we'll just see if this plays out. On the 4 hour, we're sort of trending lower over this period. So hopefully that will continue. We've kind of come up to take this close gap out during market session, and perhaps we'll go down lower to a more natural price point. I'm going to get out there. I'm happy with that move. So 155 for the day, bringing the account total to 25,300 USD. That is 20% of the way to target. So if I can do that another, I guess, 4 times, so 150 a day, $150 is 10% to target. I've done that twice now. What's that? I've got to do it 8 more times. Thanks, Trecklord. Again, I probably could have stayed in these trades a lot longer on every entry. But, slow and steady, especially live trading and talking it through. I've got to really focus on, obviously, what's going on in the market, what I'm sharing with you guys, and trying to hang into these trades. So it looks quite good. Obviously, we've got a wick here. It's pushed down off that close gap. Hopefully more reversing. Just watching that order flow. So when I trade the DAX as well, you do need the Eurex. I think it's the Eurex pack in Tradovate, and that allows me to have access to level 2 data to be able to trade the FDAX Minis and FDAX full contracts if I like. But you do need that extra add-on with Tradovate to be able to access it. Otherwise, the Apex Trader Funding standard pack will give you access to, I think, the foreign exchange pairs, or the futures, I should say. But because I understand the DAX quite well, I am happy to pay for the extra feed. Looks like quite a bit of selling coming in. Hopefully the big guys are thinking, okay, we've filled the gap, now let's send the market lower. But that's probably it for me. I'm not going to trade anymore. I can't imagine anything showing up that's going to say, okay, this is going to be a really good trade. So that's me done for this week. So summary of day 5 of trading the Apex Trader Funding Challenge. We've had some ups and downs, but 20% of the way to target so far. So hopefully, if we keep this up for over the next, say, 5 weeks, if we did the same as what we've done this week, we'll pass after the 5th week. Bit of a recap on my trading. So I guess the analysis has been really good, but the execution hasn't quite been there. So the ability to stay in the trade once I'm in hasn't quite been there. But that's okay because of the trailing drawdown. I don't particularly want to stay in trades for too long, but I could definitely improve my execution. As for the DAX, just trending bullish regardless of other indices. I'm not sure why that is. I have taken shorts when I thought, okay, it's unreasonably high. The other markets are pulling back, so the DAX should too, and it just doesn't. So I'm not too sure why that is. Perhaps I'm getting in too early, and there's more of a lag that I need to wait for. But yeah, I'm not sure economically or politically or any other reason as to why often the DAX will just power up, particularly this year. So earlier this year, the US and the ASX, I think even the Nikkei were falling, but the DAX just kept on going up. It didn't respond to the correlations that normally are at play. That's probably it for this session. Bit of a short and sharp one. We hit the gap pretty quickly. Quite happy with that. We also faded the gap quite quickly as well. So very responsive, very volatile at the open, which is nice. I'm going to leave it with you guys, but thanks so much for coming along and watching. Thanks for returning, Trecklord. David, if you've sent me an email, just let me know it's you, I guess, and I'll send you the code for your free account. And best of luck with your trading.